No amazing, strong business is worth it if the home life fractures.
Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
We are back to Mindset Monday with our long-running host, Susan Johnson. Welcome back, Susan.
Thank you. God bless you guys so much. It's great to be back here with you this morning. I feel like there's a little bit of a glare going on, but most people will be listening to this versus watching it probably. But either way, great to see you this morning. I know you're fresh back from Florida, Jesse. And I've got a little topic today I thought would be fun because I knew you would be on here. So I thought it would also spark some little back and forth on the 7 empowering questions to ask yourself. It's really about the self-empowerment. And, every time I lead any kind of a class or an Agent Power Huddle, I do so with, authenticity and some of the things, that maybe have gone on in my own world. And I think, I can't be the only one in this world to experience some of these things. So I like to share them and give some perspectives and gain yours as well. So today's topic, 7 empowering questions to ask yourself. So, there's times that we get extremely challenged. Would you agree with that? Everything can always go perfect all the time. We'd like to think they will.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'd like to think they go perfect, and it rarely ever does. So I think this is a perfect topic.
It rarely ever does. So our whole life is really about shifting and changing and acknowledging growth and looking for areas, on how to ask ourselves some questions to be able to course correct whenever we need to. If you've ever found yourself saying, oh my gosh, how the heck did I get here? I mean, gosh, I'm on this path, I'm moving and shaking, and all of a sudden you're like, your world stops and you're like, how did I get here with everything I've been doing, right? Why does this keep happening to me, right? What am I doing wrong? Well, all these questions are completely disempowering you. They're not the right questions to ask. All that does is it creates this loop in your head going round and round, just, taking you more into a spiral versus empowering you to lift up, to make changes, to course correct whenever you need to do so. That's why I thought this was going to be a fun topic today.
I love it.
So, we need to understand, we need to understand that, the questions are really, they're like the gatekeepers, or the gatekeepers to inside of us. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, and I think I read that somewhere. But anyway, they're kind of like the gatekeepers to, if you think about having a seed or an acorn or something within you that needs to grow, but you can't water it unless you get to it, right? If you've got so many things building up, you're asking the wrong questions, you're really not opening yourself up to getting into your core and really watering and finding out what is it I need to do to really grow. And the questions that we ask ourselves, and this is why it's kind of a long intro, but I've experienced some of this, and that's why I want to share it with you. They're reflective mirrors into ourselves. These questions are going to be resources to tap into those kind of things so that we can make changes where we need to, and then also celebrate the other things that are actually going well in our lives. So the problem is when we start asking the same questions over and over again, they're disempowering and they get us into that cycle, as I just mentioned. So if you find yourself, and I think we've all had this at some point in our lives, if you find yourself, and it doesn't even have to be in business, it could be personal, relationships, what have you. If this sounds familiar to you, listen in, because I'm going to share with you a list of 7 questions that can be very revealing. They can be very empowering, which they're designed to be. And they can be great tools that even if you don't need them today, keep this Power Huddle set aside for yourself. So you can maybe circle back to it in a time that maybe it'll trigger you to say, what are those empowering questions? Because I'm kind of feeling stuck here, or I don't like where this is going. Let me ask myself.
I love this, Susan. I really do, because I do definitely find myself in going in loops in my head. I mean, I don't know if we had everyone else on camera, I bet everyone could raise their hand and acknowledge feeling that at some point in time. But yeah, I find myself asking, just kind of going in loops. So I remember a statement, I don't know if you have this somewhere, but that popped into my head as you're going through these 7 questions. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask.
I love that. Gosh, I haven't heard that in a long time, but I remember that it's so darn true. And that's why I knew this would be fun today with you, Jesse, because I thought, you know my story and everything. And I'm not going to share all that today. I mean, I will in any part that's relevant, but bottom line is, that's what's so wonderful about these agent power huddles is that we can share, we can go like, you know what, hey, I've been there too, so how did you get through it? Okay, listen in. Yep. All right. Yep. So what you need to do with this, and this glare, I'm sorry, I'm having this terrible glare. I've got to move this thing down. Like bugging the heck out of me. All right. Okay.
All right. Let's dive into the questions.
Let's dive into the questions. I love it. All right. So today, like I said, the questions are, what you first want to do is you want to actually get yourself some quiet time. Okay. So these are, you really want to set some time aside, get a paper and pen. I don't know if you're listening to Tony Robbins, that when he talks about when you're inking things, when you start writing, something happens when you start writing. Even when I design these power huddles and I'm kind of typing out, it's best to write them, but energy starts to flow and your thoughts start to flow and things come out that you really didn't see that direction going there, And so if you take these things out, you start writing these things down, you're going to find out, you're going to self-discover quite a bit. So question number 1, here it is. What is possible for me right now that I wasn't able to do a year ago? What is possible for me right now that I wasn't able to do a year ago? This is an incredibly potent question because at difficult times, we tend to focus on things that are holding us back. We tend to focus on our limiting beliefs, on things that might have been hurts that we're going through or pains, et cetera, et cetera. We're focusing on those kind of things versus we fail to see what we can do, what we are in control of doing right now, today. So to shift into that kind of a mentality, focus on the possibilities, the choices that you have to make right now that maybe a year ago you couldn't do that. Once again, a year ago, and I'll share my little tidbits in there, but a year ago, remember my son was back possibly in cancer again.
Yeah. I
made some decisions that were fear-based. Okay. You guys take this, whatever is going on in your life, but fear-based. When you make a fear-based decision, it never turns out well, right? Never turns out well. But a year ago, that's not where I was. Today, I'm in a much different place. I can make much better. I can do better things today than I could do a year ago. I don't live in that space. I was there. I don't live there. Thankfully, he's healthy today. I can make better choices. And for that reason, what is possible for me right now that I wasn't able to do last year? That's a great question. Ask yourself that and ink it, write it down. Trust your gut and don't make fear-based decisions.
Yeah. I love that one. And in with that one, I mean, this isn't exactly where you're going, but it just reminds me of that book, The Gap and the Gain, right? That talks about measuring where you've come from. I think when you're looking at what can you do, now that you couldn't have done a year ago, part of that is also looking at kind of like where you've come, what new opportunities are open to you.
What opportunities have opened up for you and what you've learned. Have you applied what you learned? Again, going back to all these agent power huddles, I listen to them all the time. My gosh, there's a lot of things I've implemented in my own business just from other people that they don't even realize I've sourced them or reached them out. Gosh, Jesse, I knew this was going to happen. I was getting on these little tangents, but Amy Izzo, I have never met her in person. I can't wait to. But one of the things I love about Amy, I learn a lot from her agent power huddles. If you haven't heard them, listen into some of Amy's power huddles. But if you notice, it's not just in her weight loss. Her weight loss is very inspiring and goodness, we can all follow that, but it's how she's enjoying life. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed how she's taking risks that in her life, she never took those risks before. She never put herself out there. And now, she's lost a lot of weight, but she's trying, and she tried surfing the other day and she's ballroom dancing, and it's hilarious to me. I'm going, how many people just live on the sidelines and don't try new things, and take those kind of risks, and you never know how that's going to open up your world and the joy in your world, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, Amy hosts the Wednesday Agent Power Huddles. By the way, she's on Wednesday this week. If you want to check it out,
great. Okay, question number 2. Yep. How do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? Okay, that's another powerful question. Why is that a powerful question? Because once again, in your world, could it be business, could it be personal, professional, whatever, you could be facing a very difficult challenge. Maybe it's, you're angry. You could be angry, you could be hurt, you could be resentful, you could be coming from scarcity, coming from fear, whatever that may be. You first of all, if you're in enough of these power huddles, we all have these emotions that kind of go like that at some points in our life. But the bottom line is not to live there, not to live in that, but acknowledge it and then say, okay, how do I really want to feel? I'll use another example in our own family. One of our family members, they were having some marital issues and kept coming to us for advice. Well, that's great. We want to give our advice, but it got so intense because there was so much conflict going on that it was really detrimental, for us to get too involved. All right. So what was I looking for? What did I really want? I really wanted to feel some peace at that point. I really wanted them to feel peace. So we had to get to one point where we go, you know what? I can give you some advice. The best advice that I can give both of you. And and you know what? They've come a long way, and the conflict has dissipated tremendously. But as long as I was in there with them, or my husband, we were in there trying to figure things out with them. We were getting all involved, and how do we want to feel? Well, I wanted to feel some peace at that point. It was too much conflict. That's just an example. There's a lot of different things you can go with. So ask yourself that. How do I ultimately want to feel about this? Well, this is a situation. How do I really want to feel? I want to get at peace. I want them to be at peace. And the way to dissipate conflict, all right, that was that particular scenario. So your feelings can guide you in directions either good or bad, right? If you listen to Tony Robbins, you'll know that either your emotions are really what you attach to it. It's what you attach to it. So how do you really want to feel? Your power and the empowerment in that question is you have a choice. You have a choice. I can go on to a lot of examples on that, but I'll keep going because we only have 30 minutes here.
Totally. I was just going to say before you go on to question 3, because I know we want to get through all 7 questions. I had an interesting experiment that someone had given to me where if someone that used to ask me, how do you want to feel? I would usually say happy, want to feel happy. Right.
Happy.
And they said, well, what if you wanted to feel content? How would you approach the decisions you make, the life you do, if your goal is contentment versus happiness? Happiness is you're chasing something that, and this is a whole other topic, but you're chasing something that you may never get to, or when you get to, it's showing you you're still looking for something else versus contentment. So that has been my, it's funny, the last couple of weeks, someone had put me up to that for a journey, was to think about what would it be if you wanted to feel content versus happy? And I love these questions.
I love that because that's also, kind of chasing the someday.
Right.
Versus the today.
Exactly. That was exactly what it was, is living the now.
Someday.
All right. What do we got for question 3?
All right. Question 3. What can I enjoy more of? There you go. What can I enjoy more of? Because what is within reach, if you pushed a little bit harder, think about, and this, now I'm talking business. So let's talk business for a minute. So what can I enjoy more of? If you push yourself a little bit harder and, you may have a breakthrough because you do something that you dreamed of doing, but you hadn't quite got there yet. You want to enjoy doing it, right? So what can I enjoy more of? Don't just do what everybody else is doing. You've got to find something that you really enjoy doing, do it well, and do it in your way. Make sure it's authentic to you. Or what did you used to do? This could be personal or professional. What did you used to do that for whatever reason you're not doing it anymore? Okay, here's one, again, for myself is just, I've been teaching group exercise, since I was 16 years old. Well, when COVID hit, they shut all the gyms down. My license, my certification expired. I got to retake again. I am not teaching anymore. I've been teaching forever, for 40 years, got to get back to that. It gets me to the gym. It gets that time where, I just, something I enjoy, but I put it off. I set it to this side. So what can I enjoy more of? That's a great, powerful question versus getting caught up in our day-to-day everything, but really think, what can I enjoy more of? I'll go ahead and ask Amy Izzo that question, right? Maybe it is also, it's maybe just having some more quality time in your relationships with your husband, with your wife, with your kids. Maybe it's having some more time with your friends. What can I enjoy more of? And really look around at the many different things that you could actually celebrate that joy with. Make a list of them and and start keeping them with you, because we can get into these patterns and routines every day and start getting away from some of those things. So number 3 is, what can I enjoy more of? A very powerful question.
Yeah, that one reminds me of something that I know Theodis would say it. I don't know where he got it from, but like he'd always say, to reframe, instead of saying I have to do something, to reframe it to say I get to. I get to do whatever it's going to be, especially in a professional context, I get to do this prospect, whatever it is, versus I have to. It changes that mindset. I think that ties into the enjoyment piece.
I agree. And it's funny, so the one thing like I want to really trying to impress here on everybody is the fact that, you can go on social media and it looks like everybody's just moving and shaking and maybe, you're thinking, wow, am I the only one that this happens to? And the nice thing about these power huddles is it brings that awareness to us. It's like we realize, okay, well, I'm going through this right now and this is going great, but this is not going so great, but we don't live there that long. We're not in that place as long, because we understand now how to recognize it and how to make the shifts and changes to get to a better destination and get out of it. So another question to ask yourself, question number 4 is, what is unique about me? So, and I just mentioned, we get bombarded with social media, and social media is great in a lot of ways, but in other ways, depending upon where you are and what you're going through, sometimes if you find yourself scrolling through social media and you're going on Facebook or Instagram and you're going, shoot, man, gosh, I can't catch up. It looks like everybody's, doing everything you're working on every day behind the scenes, and everybody else is doing it, but you're not to the level where you want to be. And now you're feeling behind, right? I don't care what level you're at. There's somebody always doing something higher than you. And usually you're doing something higher than somebody else. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is the social media part of it, we can start to get very hard. Nobody's going to be harder usually on ourselves than we are. And that's where the self-talk comes in. That overstimulation, is, can sometimes diminish instead of inspiring, can sometimes diminish, because you're going, oh crap, man, I need to do this, and this still. And it can be overwhelming.
It's so true.
It's so true, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people, actually. I definitely know that's not just me. And again, sometimes I feel like I'm rocking and rolling it, and I'm getting all my videos done. I'm doing all these different things. And, I've got, 5-6 escrows going on right now. I'm like, oh man, everything's moving and shaking and things are going great. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, I didn't get that done this week. And you're feeling behind. You're feeling like you're left behind. Well, what is unique about me is a great question, because at that point, this is not about, I'm Christian based, faith based and whatnot. So, but it's really not just about that here. I'm just saying, there's a saying that says, lie down in green pastures by still waters. I'm not sure if you heard of that, but lie down in green pastures by still waters. And I think that thought quite a bit, because when I feel myself getting in that overwhelm, or I'm falling behind, or something I'm going, wait, this is not where I want to be. I've got to lie down in green pastures, means get to a quiet place by still waters. And what that does is going to allow me to take a breath, regroup, and say, okay, let go and let God. If for me, that's what I do. Or, make a list about what I can do, what's good, going good, and take inventory of the positive things that's unique about myself and what's going on in my life that I've taken action on, instead of getting into a spiral of what's not good. Remember the questions again. What's not good? What's going good? What's unique? What have other people said about you? For years ago, people would say, oh, she's so rah, and I would take that very offensively. I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like it. I thought, I've got a lot more than just the rah behind me. But, but now, today, it's interesting. I get it a lot still, but instead of using the rah word, maybe that was just the time of my life in the years that we were in my, 30s, or, and that was words people were using. But now it's, oh my God, I love your energy. And I'm thinking, I take that as a huge compliment. I get compliments on my energy quite a bit from clients. And, after 20 plus years in the business, and people still say, wow, you really love what you do. I'm like, I do. And I'm glad it still shows after all these years. So the energy is unique about me. The energy is something that hopefully I project through here, to you in Agent Power Huddle. When I teach classes, when I work with clients, that's a uniqueness. So what's in it with you that you can find in yourself that, you're scrolling through these pages on social media, and all of a sudden you're trying to go like this, wait a minute, stop. What's unique about me? that is going to make me go, wait a minute, if I have to turn off social media for a little while, which I did, by the way, especially when I was going through the personal issues with my family, I didn't turn it off. I did what
how did that go? How did that go for you?
So I didn't turn it off. I should rephrase that. I did what I did for the business, but I wasn't reviewing as much. I wasn't spending as much time because I just needed to get my head in a space where I would take care of my family, take care of my business, get myself back to basics on certain, because I made that shift with my business, and I want to make another one here, Jesse, real soon. Yep. You get my drift of that, though. I had to silence it, if you will, to the point that I could get my focus back and say, you know what? I know I've got some great uniqueness. I know I've got a lot to offer. I know I'm a fabulous agent and broker, and I can help a lot of people. And I'm going to start helping myself and my family. When I get that oxygen mask on, now I'm ready a year later, because last year I wasn't in that place, to turn around, to reach out again. That's unique about me. I had to recognize that to know what can I share with other people. All right. Number 5, what kind of experiences do I want to have? These are not the questions you're probably expecting, huh? They're a little different.
Very, very different.
They're very different. I can go with the traditional ones, but I like these questions because I've gone through these now myself, and I'm like, what experiences? This was a fun one because our lives go by very quickly. You may not think so. Well, maybe you do, but look at your kids and you think, you see them every day. But I tell you, then look at other people's kids and you see, oh my gosh, this one kid that who you knew when they were in diapers is now turned 21 this weekend. Where did the time go? Where did that time go? I'll tell you what really cracked me up, and this happened, which I like this question. What kind of experiences do I want to have? Okay, husband and I sitting with two of our good friends, and we're like, we're going to talk about our bucket list items. We want to go to certain places. We want to visit certain destinations. Remember that someday list? Jesse, you just talked about someday?
Oh, absolutely.
At 59. Oh, and by the way, do you remember last year I kept saying I'm 59?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but I did Agent Power Huddle on my birthday, April 3rd. And it was hilarious because I turned 59 this year. So I got an extra year. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I just earned an extra year because I thought I was 59 last year. So guess what? I got a whole nother year.
That's hilarious.
So my husband and I are friends sitting down, and we're like, bucket list. I'm like, hang on a minute. At our age, it's no longer so much a bucket list. Okay, in the next 10 years, guess what? We just put a time frame on it. Do you think we're going to get to these things quicker now that we just put a time limit on it and it wasn't a bucket list someday? In 10 years, before we're 70, Jesse, come on now, you're a lot younger than me. So our bucket list couldn't really be a bucket list. We can do things in our 80s or 90s, but in 10 years, Jesse, I'm going to be 69, almost 70 years old. Me, yeah, right. Thank you. Doesn't mean you can't do a lot of stuff. Hey, I feel like I'm 40 right now. So anyway,
I was just going to say, age is a number, and the way you feel.
Age is a number, right?
Totally. Age is a number.
In this, what kind of experiences I want to have, that makes this bucket list or the someday list become much more real.
Yeah.
And now you can say, what do I want in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years?
That question really lights me up, by the way. I'm noticing how I'm shifting my state over the last 20 minutes, just kind of thinking different questions. But that last one, what kind of experience do I want to have? I love that one. I mean, I feel myself already getting a little excited thinking about the possibilities of, that's cool.
It is. I mean, what dreams have you had? What you're traveling, was it, what did you used to think about before you had your kids and things like that? So for us, kids never we're the kind of family that when we had our kids, we were at the river with our kids. We were traveling with our, that's just the lifestyle we chose to have. But some people don't do that. They're like, well, we have kids, so we can't do that. We have kids, we can't do that. We have to wait until that someday when we have enough money, when our kids are old enough, that someday. But what experiences do you really want to have? And talk that over with your spouse or your significant other, or even if you're by yourself. So I also wanted to add that when things feel kind of muddy or unclear, when you think about the experiences that you want to have, that will start to draw you to your joy. And the clarity of where your joy is at will start to show up because you start thinking about the experiences versus, okay, what's my joy? Well, that's kind of a harder question. It's a good question, but at the same time, what experiences do I want to have is going to take you to another level of really, where's my joy? What's going to make me happy, my life happy, enrich my life? I can shift this into professional, and I will, because it's even in my notes. I do notes, so I don't too much off track because I get off track all the time. And as I was writing this, Jesse, I put, make a list of these experiences, personal and professional, because who knows, this could turn to a lucrative lifelong career. And then first two people I thought of, you and Mike Brown. Okay, here's why. Look what you've done with your organization of the Agent Collective. I mean, when I first met you, I don't know, there may have been, 50, 100 people, if even that. I think you've got 1,000 or more at this point. Look at all the lives when you first got doing that, could you even imagine
Really hard to imagine.
You were just on stage in Florida, for goodness sakes, at the summit, fortunately. Yeah. And that's the point of this. It's kind of fun. What kind of experiences do I want to have? It doesn't have to just be, travel and all that. It could be more, what kind of experiences do I want to have professionally? Right? Mike, I was talking to Mike a couple of years, and I met him on Agent Power Huddle, met him through Kristen Mayshore's program and all that. And his organization, which is through you as well, my gosh, growing. It's inspirational. It's like, did you have any idea this is where it was going to go? Or you just kind of kept doing what you love, attracting the people who, Anyway, I love that. And it made me think of you guys when I started diving into that question.
I love it.
Okay, we got two more. I know we're running out of time. Number 6, how can I do things differently? Okay, if you're going round and round in circles, this is the question that's going to snap you out of it. How can I do things differently? Well, there's certainty and safety in routines. And routines are good in some respects, but there's a lot of safety in that. But if you're not getting the results you want, then what's the point? Right? If you're not ending up with the satisfying solutions, then you've got to say, okay, how can I do things differently? And I love this question because I'm not afraid, as you can tell, I'm talking now just to Jesse. I know there's a bunch of people listening in, but I'm not afraid to ask for help. I learned that years ago. I'm all about asking for help. I know my strengths, I know my challenges, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to source out who's got this down and say, you know what? Can you help me?
From a professional level, that question, and I know we got 2 minutes, so we'll get the last question in, guys, don't worry. But that question, how can I do things differently? That might be my favorite question of this list from a professional standpoint. That's a fantastic question. Because
so many people have to ask, they don't ask for help. They think, you know what, by 20 some odd years in the business, I should know this by now. Right? Jesse, you've been there just about as long as me. You should know that by now. No, we don't know everything. And with the way things shift and change all the time, asking for input, be open-minded. Another thing is just being open-minded to exploring the other avenues. That's a big part of this question, though, because we can get so into our routines and rigid about not wanting to make that change because of the fear. And I say, don't make a fear-based decision, but that doesn't mean exploring opportunities, exploring other ways to implement things in your business, asking for help, and then designing what does that look like in action steps.
Yeah.
Big difference there.
Huge.
Okay. Number 7, I know we're going to make it. What do I need? This is such a simple question, but it's one of the most important questions we could ever ask ourselves. It's not even always, what do I want? It's what do I need? Check in with yourself, especially. I did an emotions Agent Power Huddle on emotions, where we talk about different emotions and we dive into that. But this is a great part of that. So if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, in anything, it's an incredibly empowering question because it allows us to stop, catch our breath, and say, what do I need right now? Do I need time off? Do I rest? Do I need exercise, relaxation, guidance, mentorship, assistance? What do I need? This is the question that's going to give you that answer. And then you need to communicate those needs with other people. I reached out personally to you, Jesse. We can talk. What I need in my own business that I need some help with. So we're sourcing those resources to help build those people. I'm telling you, I use myself as an example because I want you to know, hey, ask yourself that question. because our needs are going to be different. But ask yourself that, and you know that me, Jesse, the artist, Amy, we all do this, and we all resource each other, and that's what the power is in this. It's truly one of the most life-changing questions. What do I need? It can constantly improve all of your relationships. It doesn't have to just be professionally. Your relationships. What do I need? Maybe I just need time more with my kids. Maybe I need some more time with my spouse. My business is rocking right now, but you know what? I need some quality time at home, because no amazing, strong business is worth it if the home life fractures.
Yeah.
Right? It's not. It's not.
I'm on board with that, Susan. These are such good questions. I'm so glad you're back.
I think good questions.
On my side. This is so fun. I thought
it would be fun. So we're going to wrap up right now. And, and just remember this: powerful questions evoke clarity, create greater possibility, reveal new learning, and they generate action. Okay, so put those together. And the questions so when I look back at every one of these questions, I went, does it create clarity? Well, yes, you're right. These down. Does it give you more possibility? It sure does. Does it reveal new learning? You're learning about yourself. You're learning about what steps you need to take. And does it generate action? Is it going to make me do something to make my life better by implementing these 7 questions?
Oh, I love it, Susan.
Power Huddle today.
Oh, that was so good. Have a great Monday, everybody. Thanks for being here, guys. Oh, it was so good.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.